born in drought and brevity. And if I'm not the soul of your design, I blatantly decline your remedy. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. Wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else. And if I fall behind, ignoring all the signs, if I lose the fight, I still rage against the night. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine.
Hello gamers from around the world, this is Boxenberger, the video game enthusiast from Germany, and I would like to welcome you to this week's The World of Gaming and Dutch. It's a showcase week with the Xbox Preview Partner show.
Yes.
Airing earlier today. We have plenty of game announcements to talk about, isn't that why we're here?
Yes.
Talk about games.
Yes.
Indeed. So it's going to be a fun one today. And first, I want to welcome our awesome community. Big shout out to everyone who's tuning in here live. I see a lot of familiar names in the chat. A big welcome to you guys. And of course, a big welcome to everyone who listens after the fact, either here on YouTube or on Spotify, Apple Podcast, wherever you're listening. A big welcome. And I kind of have to apologize to our Apple and podcast and Spotify listeners. We usually upload the podcast like 10 minutes, 15 minutes after the show ends. But we had technical issues last week. So I was only able to upload the last podcast on Sunday, I think. So apologies. We hope we won't run into the same issues today. But Dutch, how are you doing, my man?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I haven't really been online much this week either. I have been either at work or in the gym. Otherwise, chilling out. Again, I would have loved to have played more Visions of Mana to try and get that finished because I'm almost there. But as you know, much like me, you can't just jump onto Visions for like half an hour. It has to be a couple of hours at a time. Like there is no in between.
It has to be. Yeah, it has to. It really has to be. And I didn't have that much, continued gaming time over the
Yeah.
last week, so I didn't play as much Visions as I wanted to.
Yeah.
I continued a little bit, but yeah, you can't squeeze in Visions of Mana for 30 minutes or so.
Nope.
That's what I do with Diablo. You can easily squeeze in 30 minutes of Diablo or
Yeah.
one or two matches of Age of Mythology, but you can't do that with Visions.
Nope. Nope, not at all. Not at all. How are you anyway? How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I'm looking forward to a great weekend. Just mentioned that before the show.
Yes.
My wife and I, we celebrate our 10th anniversary, married for 10 years. We've been together for 14 years now, but yeah, 10 years married, and we're going to a spa over the weekend. The kids staying over at their grandparents, and we do a little getaway, and I can't wait for that. So I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. And I hope everyone in the community is also doing great. I hope you enjoyed the Xbox Partner Showcase. We'll talk about that, but we have also a couple of other things to talk about this week. But first of all, I kind of want to say the most important topic,
Yeah.
is, of course, the talk about the games of the week.
Jingle, jingle, jingle. For all the people in the chat on here that can't hear the jingle.
All right. Of course, as always, Dutch, I want to know what you have been playing, but we also want to know what the community has been playing. What kept you guys busy in the chat? Let us know. Dutch, Visions of Mana, obviously.
Yes, yeah. Of course, I still love it. It is still up there right now for a Game of the Year shout. It's between that and Rebirth. And at the minute, I'm surprisingly edging more towards Visions than I am Rebirth, which might be a surprise to some, but that's how I'm feeling.
I totally agree.
Yeah,
totally agree. Rebirth was great.
Yeah,
no doubt. But Visions is fantastic. It is
really fantastic, and it's still hard because you're not up to the part that I'm up to, so I can't say anything and we can't talk about it yet. So.
I can't wait to talk about it properly with you.
Yeah, when we've both finished it, we'll have a section on the show. We'll have a section on the show where we discuss Visions.
Absolutely.
But yeah, other than Visions, and I've even played a smidge here just before I started, but not much, just a couple of little fights. Shout out to Maurice, Xbox tester. He gave me a code for the new Starship Troopers game.
Oh, nice! How is it?
It's it's cool. It's cool. It's you've got a campaign, obviously. So you go out and you clear kind of different bug holes and things on different planets, and you set up defensive perimeters and unlock different kind of mining capabilities on certain planets. So it's nice. It's pretty simple in terms of its campaign. But then it's also got the online, which is unbelievably hectic. You've got like 5 squads of 4, all going out, and you've got to do certain objectives, and then you've got to go and defend a base that you might be doing, or you can, certain levels are like horde mode where you've all got to defend against like waves and waves of kind of arachnids, and it's really hectic. Awesome. But it's fun. It does have its bugs, does have its issues, and hopefully that'll be patched out. I was like at the 8 out of 10 waves of a horde mode the other night, and it crashed. I was like, no! And obviously being an online game, you can't just jump back in where you were. So
again,
so at that point I just turned it off, and I was like, right, back onto Visions. Like,
okay,
not starting that again.
Would you recommend it if you're only interested in the campaign, in the single player part?
Yeah, I mean, I would. It's only 40-something bucks. But it does have it has a full solo campaign where you've got 3 AI teammates. So yeah, you still get plenty out of it. You still level up. You still level up weapons. You still get different armors and things like that you can unlock for your trooper. And that And the good thing is anything that you unlock in single can be used in multi and vice versa. So it kind of it works both ways. But yeah, it's got a fully fledged solo campaign where it's got the original character from Starship Troopers, voice acting, the kind of narration in it as well. So he's the leader and he's telling you what to do. But yeah, it's quite cool. It's quite cool. I would say probably I would wait for yourself. Probably wait for a sale and maybe pick it up at that point. But
okay.
It would definitely be more funny if I had a lot more people playing it with us, friends wise. It would be hilarious. But yeah, as a solo person going into it, tried both the campaign and I've tried the multiplayer. Both really fun. Yeah, both really fun.
Sweet, nice.
Outside of that, let's have a check, see what else I've been playing. Because I jumped back on Back for Blood. I picked it up in a super cheap sale. It was on there for like, I would like to say £6 or something on the Xbox store, and I used my points to get that. And then all of the expansions were on there for like £3, so then I used the points to get that. So I got Back for Blood and all expansions. So I've been playing that for a little bit as well.
Sweet.
Played some Age 2 Definitive Edition. Played some matches there. And I think that's about it. A little bit of more FIFA as well, which is what people are watching on screen at the minute. FIFA Rush. I've been playing with some friends.
And people on my stream can still vote in the chat. It looks good for Visions of Mana, which is obviously one game I have been playing. We just talked about that, but let's see what the community has been playing. Pyro in the chat has been playing Yakuza 4, and he restarted Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon's Keep. And he's gonna start Yakuza 5 and Tales of Arise. Yeah, man, Tiny Tina is actually really good. The end game kind of not. But if you play Tiny Tina as just have fun with a campaign that takes 20-25 hours, something in that ballpark.
Yeah.
You're definitely gonna have fun with that game. So good stuff, Pyro. What else have people been playing? Dustin Lambert in the chat finished Scorn and started Legends of Mana. And he really appreciates how fun older games used to be versus today's AAA offerings. It happens when you go back to one of the all-time classics, and Legends of Mana definitely is one of those. That's fantastic.
We were speaking about that just before this as well. Like, on Visions was my first Mana game, and I've absolutely adored it. So I've downloaded Trials and Legends thanks to Gamepass, and I'll be playing on them after I've played on Visions because I've thoroughly enjoyed my time. I think I'm going to start, and I've mentioned that to you, start with Trials because it's the newer of the two, and then play the old school Legends.
Nice. Lily in the chat is still playing Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah, I mean, it's a massive game. It takes you weeks to beat it properly. Siki has been playing Halo Infinite. Nice. And Legion 11512 has been playing Sifu and Fatal Frame Maiden of Blackwater.
Nice.
I've never heard of that game. I've heard of Sifu, but yeah. Or I actually checked out Sifu. But yeah. Sweet. And Drake Williams just got the 1,000 Gamers course in Hogwarts Legacy.
Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. I bet he hated this part as much as I hated it. And that was getting to the chamber for the first time with every faction. Having played it once or twice, it starts to get a bit monotonous, but when you've got the fact you've got to do it 4 times, you're like, oh, I've seen the intro of this game like so many times now, and it's like the first 2 hours of the game you've got to play like 4 times.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, welcome to the club. I'm looking forward to the second one, which is obviously in the works as well, and see what they bring up with that.
Yeah, nice. So, yeah, what have I been playing? Or did we miss someone in your chat?
No, Everyone's good over here. Everyone's been playing real
Okay.
life.
Yeah, I know that game.
Yeah.
I know that game all too well.
Yeah.
So, what have I been playing? I've been playing, obviously, Visions of Mana. We just mentioned that. Just want to add, if this game continues to be as good as it is up until the Act 4, I think I'm Act 4 now.
Yeah.
It's definitely in my list of Game of the Year contenders. It's a phenomenal game. Other than that, of course, I've been playing Age of Mythology. Been trying out different new strategies to be better in online gaming, because I kind of have to admit, man, the servers are not too full.
Yeah.
It's sometimes the queue list for a match can be 3 minutes or so, which kind of tells me I've never waited in H4 longer than 30 seconds or so for a match, which is definitely longer. So, and usually that means that only the good players are playing online matches. And I'm not too scared to admit I'm struggling in online competitive.
Yeah.
But I'm also improving, man. If I train different new strategies against the AI, I can go to the second highest easily and beat the AI.
Nice.
So I'm improving, man. I'm improving.
I have a couple
other
here
than
actually in the chat before you continue.
okay,
Xbox Mick, welcome back, sir. It's been a while. He's played and completed Star Wars Outlaws as well. That was one you'll be happy about.
Oh, that's good. Good.
And Studos, after watching me play Visions of Mana, has been playing some Legends of Mana. So he's jumped on that. So he's having fun with that as well. And I think he's been playing Trials of Mana as well, so he's enjoying that. So yeah, and Mick's just waiting for indie now. Big indie fan.
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
Yeah, so and the other game that I've played a lot has been Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred.
Yes.
That is just such a good game. And honestly, the new class, the Spiritborn, feels so OP. Like there are some badass crazy builds out there that you can go for. And I love what they've done with some of the changes, the way how they handle world tier difficulty now.
Yeah.
The end game provides quite a lot now. They kept the pit. They changed a little bit what it does, which is awesome. I haven't played the Citadel yet. The raid, the co-op raid. That they added. I haven't played that one yet. I want to get my character up and then look for a couple of friends to play it with, because it is a co-op experience, playing the raid in Diablo. But yeah, man, I'm loving it. Having a blast with Diablo 4, Vessel of Hatred. So yeah, just let's have a brief look if we missed someone in the chat. What they have been playing, but I think we covered them all. So, yeah, Dutch, let us talk. Oh, first let me put on, I think Visions of Mana won the poll in my chat, so we're gonna put on some Visions of Mana for today. Just gonna quickly close the poll, and then let's jump into some discussions of news, and the big news is obviously the Xbox partner preview. So
it is. Jingle, jingle.
Here we go.
Jingle, jingle.
Jingle time. All right, Dutch. Just 1 hour before we started our podcast, we had the Xbox partner preview.
Yes.
Which they've done a couple of those over the last 2 years, ever since Tina joined the team and is in charge of shows and content and stuff. And so we kind of knew, right, what to expect from an Xbox partner preview, 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
Bunch of third-party games. So before we go through the games, we want to know, of course, from you guys in the chat, how did you like it overall? And Dutch, what did you think about it?
Yeah, overall it was all right. It was a good little show, to be fair. Can't really complain. There was I think a little bit of something for everybody. There was quite a couple of different horror games. There was a couple of different Souls games. You had a couple of different Japanese games and Chinese games. So yeah, there was a few indie games there. The team from Ollie World have got a new game in there as well. Ollie Wheel. Oh no, sorry.
Wheel World.
Yeah, Wheel World. That's the one. So yeah, it was something for everybody. To be fair, it was a good little show. You always go into these partner program kind of streams, kind of with the expectations, of course, that it's all just third party stuff. A lot of the games will be, obviously, the vast majority will be multi-plat games, and they're just from different third parties throughout there. But we've got some cool stuff on there. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think what you said about expectations is really important, because I've seen over the last 2 days people hyping it up to be something it really can't be. It's not the first Xbox partner preview we got, right? We kind of know about the amount of games, the size and scope. You're not going to get like the next GTA trailer or something in such an Xbox partner preview, right? So with the expectations in check, I think this was overall a really good show. Let's talk about some of the things that they've seen or shown. Obviously, they started with the new Alan Wake DLC.
Yep.
Coming in October, the Lake House. And I mean, Alan Wake obviously looks phenomenal visually, whether it's a game for you or not, but it kind of keeps getting better. It looks absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
So what did you think, man?
Yeah, I agree. It does. It looks absolutely stunning. It is a really good expansion. Probably one people have been looking forward to Alan Wake. But again, Alan Wake 2 was already a fantastic game. This one takes it more into, the horror element of it. And I think a lot of people will be excited for it. The first kind of DLC they brought out for it was cool, a little bit more wacky. But this one's a little bit more serious and a little bit more grim and dark. So I think this is the one that people will have been looking forward to the most. So no, it looks really cool. What do you think?
Yeah, man. I haven't played the first DLC yet.
Yeah.
I finished the main game, though. So yeah, it kind of. I'm thinking about getting actually both DLCs now. It just looks phenomenal, and I love the first or the main game. Not a game I can play every day, though.
Yeah, I agree.
I kind of have to be in the mood. Like when I'm coming home, exhausted after a 12, 13, 14-hour day, you know.
Yeah.
You kind of have to be in the mood. But Alan Wake 2 was fantastic, and the DLC looks just as good. So I'm really thinking about it. But yeah, the next game they've shown from Bloober, man, Chronos, a horror game. We haven't seen much gameplay of it. A lot of it was CGI. They've shown at the very end of the CGI little snippet of gameplay. You know, the guy walking around with its gun, but not too much real gameplay. But the little snippets we've seen looks visually great.
Yeah.
Really, they took it up a notch. However, gameplay wise, Bloober, you know what I mean? The shooting or combat mechanics always felt kind of weird. So I'm not 100% convinced yet, but it has my interest. What did you think?
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm not 100% convinced as yet, but it's interesting to see them. It's the first ever multiplayer game, so it's interesting to see how this works out. It looks cool, and I think, did they mention it was going on to Gamepass? Or Xbox Game Preview? I'm sure it was one of them, or if not both.
Let me check. I'm not sure. There was like a graphic that they put up.
Yeah.
What is in Game Pass? Where is it? Kind of need that. Yeah, I can't find it from the top. There it is. Is it? No, it's not.
No. I think
no, not coming to Game Pass. Yeah. But anyway, then they've shown a shooter called Blind Fire.
Yeah.
You know, this cyberpunk-ish looking shooter really didn't do much for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah. I don't know what to make of it. Again, it was quite dark, and again, that's the point. It was meant to be dark, and it takes the light out of it and things like that. But I can see it being highly frustrating. But yeah, I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what to make of it.
There was something about a movement that just looked weird.
Yeah, it obviously looked very pre-recorded, and it didn't look overly fluid. It looked more like a cinematic than it did, like a cinematic with pretending in-game overlays than it did actually somebody playing the game.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't know what to make of that one. I really don't, not yet.
Yeah. Pirate Yakuza was shown off. That looked hilarious. What did you think?
Yeah, it's certainly different. It's certainly different. I've still, you know where it is. Like a Dragon was probably the last one that I bought, and it is a cool game. It is very wacky though, and it's for me, it's hard to get into something that's like, I know it doesn't take itself too seriously, but it's like it is completely insane, like grown men in nappies and things like that. And a lot of these Yakuza games are just batshit insane, like completely off the wall insane. And it's hard for me to take them overly serious or get into them that much. So we'll see how people kind of get into it. But they're trying something different for the Yakuza franchise. They're going down the pirate route. So we'll see how that fares. How people take onto it. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Yakuza guy. I've tried multiple Yakuza games. It's a little too much, cutscenes and conversation for me.
Yeah.
It feels like when I play a game and then I watch a 10-minute cutscene to get 2 minutes of gameplay and then another 10-minute cutscene. It's like, but I must admit that game looked hilarious. It looked fun. A lot of action. Doesn't take itself serious, obviously. So yeah, man. If it would be in Game Pass, I would definitely give it a chance.
Yeah.
Not sure if I'm gonna invest into it though. The next one. Well, let me briefly shout out Tron TJ, who sends in the first super chat of the day. He says, Bloober Team game looks good. It visually absolutely does. But given their track record, I kind of want to see a little bit more gameplay. But I'm willing to give them a chance because I like the atmosphere, the setting, like with the old lady that they are going for and the weird robot dude. it looked good. It looked good, but gameplay wise, they haven't always hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
So I want to see a little bit more of it.
Yeah.
The next game they've shown that actually really piqued my interest is Mouse PI. The black and white game that kind of looks a little like Cuphead, but it's a first-person shooter.
Yeah, believe it or not, I had that in my indie showcase this year.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched the showcase almost twice.
And it was
kind of.
Yeah, it was called. They changed the name on it because originally it was just called Mouse, and then they changed it to Mouse PI. But it's the same game. Yep. It looks cool.
Interesting.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what happens when when they lost the rights to the old Mickey. All of these people can create games now. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, I really dig the art style. Really reminds me, of course, like one of the best platformers of the last generation with Cuphead. Very unique. I like games that are unique and are not easy to compare to others. So yeah, man, that looked really cool. And then there was a surprise I didn't really expect, and that was Subnautica 2.
Yep, Subnautica 2. Yep.
And that is actually coming to
Gamepass.
Gamepass.
Yes, and Game Preview, which means they're likely looking to expand it and get bigger and add more things to it. So
It has a multiplayer part for the first time.
Yeah. It explains why it's in preview.
Yeah. That makes sense. I wonder if there's gonna be like a proper like campaign or something,
Yeah.
But yeah, when the trailer started, and you see this beautiful underwater world, obviously CGI trailer, but was okay. What's that? And I was not expecting to see an announcement of Subnautica 2. So that was a really good surprise. Then they've shown Eden versus Zero.
Yes, they did. Another new anime game.
Yes.
And this should hopefully be quite popular. It's actually on screen now online, because I recorded the shorter to play on here. Yeah, it looks cool. It looks like an action RPG, which is interesting. A lot of different powers, a lot of different biomes in space on different planets. So it looks certainly very interesting. We'll see. It's based on a popular Japanese manga, so hopefully it does well. It's a Konami game.
A lot of people have been asking for these kind of games, right, on Xbox, a lot. And it just even though it really didn't do much for me, personally, but it shows that Xbox really is putting effort into
It is.
bringing these kind of games over to Xbox. So I do hope that they continue to do so, and they can only do that if people are going to support it, right? So
What did you think about it?
Yeah, I don't know. It was sometimes, with these kind of games, it's just the trailers. So for instance, if I look at Metaphor, every trailer I've seen looks like I don't know. It's such a weird ass game, and if you then look at proper gameplay, continued gameplay, you suddenly realize, oh, that's totally my thing. So I don't know if Eden's Zero was just that, because sometimes these Japanese games have the most weirdest trailers
Yep.
that just don't resonate with me,
Yeah.
or whether the game is actually not for me. So I need to see more continued gameplay before I want to give my judgment on that game. But the next one really piqued my interest, and that is Eternal Strands.
Yes, that trailer's just been on here as well. Yeah, that looks very interesting. That one's Game Pass day one.
Yeah, it is.
That looks different. Again, a cool art style. That's like a hack and slashy action adventure with big beasties and gods and things that you have to take down. So that certainly looks very interesting. Yeah.
It absolutely does. Like these action RPG-ish vibes, cool art style, cool setting, colorful. That really piqued my interest. And I mean, it was announced for Game Pass. Was it just me, or did I miss a release window?
No, they didn't have many of the release windows on here. A lot of them didn't have release windows.
Yeah. Because I was trying to take notes, and sometimes you miss stuff when watching it for the first time, so I wasn't sure about that. But yeah, Game Pass day one obviously makes it an easy decision to just check it out. But it kind of reminds me of what we are watching right now here on the stream with Visions of Mana, right? Maybe even a little more action oriented, and maybe a little bit more serious characters. I don't know, but yeah, that definitely looked great.
Yeah, it did. It looked really good, really cool.
Yeah. Then we got, what was the next game, man? Mistfall Hunter.
Yeah, this one's a bit of a strange one because I didn't know quite what to make of it. It looks like it's kind of set in like a Norse setting. It kind of looked that way to me.
Yeah.
And then at the end it says it's a Souls-like extraction game. And I don't know.
I didn't see the extraction part though.
Souls-like extraction game, so I'm not sure what to make of that. that's different. If that's the case, is it multiplayer Souls-like extraction game, or is it single player and you just switch between characters? Extraction games notoriously have been multiplayer, so I mean, it looks good.
I'm trying to think of one that was a single player game.
Yeah.
Maybe if someone in the chat can think of a single player extraction game. I can't think of a game from the top of my head. But yeah, I definitely got the Souls vibes.
Yeah.
It looks also visually really good.
Yeah.
Nothing to complain there.
A lot of different techniques, a lot of different abilities, different, like you see, different characters to play as, ranged or close quarters, or
wizard or sorcerer, mage class, melee combat class. They've shown different, very different characters, and I appreciated it was like real gameplay trailer, no CGIs. You really got an idea of what the gameplay is gonna look like, which obviously with the Bloober game Chronos, we really didn't see that. A lot of CGI was very different with Mistfall. I mean, the Souls games are popular, Dutch. A lot of
very popular
games go in that direction, right?
Yeah.
And I just hope it's not going to be like one of these hype trains that we've seen with battle royale games where 2, 3 made it.
Yeah,
and now everyone's trying to make one. Not that I'm against Souls-like games, but to achieve, the quality of a From Software, which is really important in those games, because you can't just make your game difficult. Yeah, you kind of have to nail it, that the combat feels really good, that the game doesn't feel like it's punishing you, but you kind of need to have that, okay, I really didn't time my parry window or my dodge window or something. So you kind of need to get the feeling, okay, it was my mistake. And I think that is what made a lot of these Souls games from software so popular. Because they just nailed that aspect, and we've seen some more mediocre Souls-like games over the last 2 years. Flintlock comes to mind earlier this year. It just wasn't there. It was like the combat felt a little clunky, and I don't know. And suddenly the challenging combat becomes frustrating, and it is kind of hard to nail that properly. So, and just looking at even this show, we've got more of these Souls-likes in this show, and you guys know it all too well. It is a popular genre right now. Looking at the success of the Elden Rings and games like that, I just don't want every game to feel like we need to go for the Souls formula, you know? Just make a proper action RPG out of it. If you can't really nail that aspect, you don't have to make a Souls-like. So I don't know, how do you see this trend?
Yeah, like I say, it all boils down to how well they pull it off. I'm not the biggest Souls fan, to be fair. And again, there's that many of them now as well. It's just hard to keep up. And knowing there's like a few of the peak ones, like you've got your Lies of P, you've got Sekiro, you've got Elden Ring or Dark Souls, and they're kind of the peak.
Lots of the Fallen. Dustin in the chat mentions that.
Yeah, you've got kind of the peak ones there that people are kind of accustomed to, and now there's like an abundance of Souls-like ish games that are coming out, and like you're right. They have to get especially the how the parrying feels and the parrying timing and everything down correctly in these games. Otherwise, it is frustrating. And I've known a few of them when I've played them, and the parrying always feels a little bit off compared to, like you say, the likes of Elden Ring and the Soulsborne games. So yeah, it's always a bit different. I'm horrific at those games anyway, so I'm not the best to judge on any Souls games. But like you say, it's popular right now, so strike while the iron's hot, as they say. When it's still popular, make a game. Hopefully it's successful. There's no guarantees it's going to be remaining that way forever. You've seen that with battle royales. I know there's a new battle royale coming out soon called Off the Grid. But the predominant ones have always been the same: Warzone, PUBG,
Fortnite,
Apex, Fortnite. They've stood there by the test of time, and they're still the most popular ones. And none of them are really, no other battle royales really broke the mold or jumped out. So it's the same in the Souls genre. You've got to either stand out or forgetting about.
Yeah, that's true. Pyro in the chat says that's my biggest problem of the modern games industry, when so many publishers try to chase a trend. With a 5-year development cycle, we get too many similar things dropped instead of new, unique games. I totally agree. It's like, we mentioned Battle Royale, but let's go a little wider in the genre. Games as a service. Developers have been chasing that. Look at Ubisoft, PUBG got hot, Fortnite got hot. They were trying to chase the trends. It took them 5-6 years to bring out a games as a service title. By that time, nobody had interest in that stuff anymore. And you see it now. We mentioned that in in some of the previous podcasts. There's barely any games as a service title coming out that is able to be successful for longer than a short period of fame.
Yeah.
And not even that. And even with some of the biggest names behind it, look at the Avengers game, look at Suicide Squad. Yeah. Developers definitely need to stop chasing trends. And I just see that with Souls-like games happening right now.
Yeah.
So nothing against Mistfall Hunter. I really hope it's not gonna fall into that trap, just being a Souls-like for the sake of it, because it is the thing to chase right now. We shall see. 25 release of that game.
Yes. Yeah. We'll see. I'll probably give it a try, to be fair. Hopefully it feels a little bit less Soulsy and more action RPG. I don't mind when they do that, when it's like they kind of take some aspects of Souls games, but they focus more on the action side of things than they do the Souls like. We shall see. We shall see.
Yeah, we shall see. We shall see indeed. Then we got a couple of indie games. Heal World.
Yes.
You were pretty excited at the beginning of the show about it.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone's played Ollie Ollie World, you understand that that's a really cool game. Thoroughly enjoyed Ollie Ollie World. I still go back to it every now and again and play a few levels. It's quite a funky game. It's easy one to relax to, and I can imagine Wheel World is going to be exactly the same. Quite an easy game to relax to. Very easy on the eye kind of art scheme, as we should stay there. And I don't expect this to be uber popular as a game, but it'll be super customizable, a funky little story, and a nice little indie game to play. So
yeah. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be like a million seller.
Yeah.
That's not the type of game that sells millions of units, but I haven't played Ollie Ollie World, so I can't really talk about them.
That's a cool little. It's like it's a different take on a skateboarding game, but it's like a 2D platformer version. Really cool. Yeah, really cool.
I remember it was in Gamepass, right? Because I was like, do I download it? And then I was like, I'm just downloading Tony Hawk.
Yeah. It's an entirely different take on it. Obviously, this Tony Hawk's your standard 3D skateboarder, but this one's a little bit more whimsical. And you've got like skate guards, and you've got like little battles and things you do against them and things. So yeah, it's quite cool. And I expect no less from Wheel World.
Wheel World?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Then they've shown Phasmophobia.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Phasmophobia.
I'm looking forward to this. It's been on PC for a long time. I haven't picked it up on PC, but it is coming to Xbox. And I know quite a few people that are going to be picking this up that want to play in a party on Phasmophobia. So that's exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to pick up Phasmophobia, and I'm going to play it with friends, and it's going to be hilarious. So
Sweet. I'm not sure about that, but the next one piqued my interest.
Yes.
The Legend of Babu.
Yes. That does look quite cool.
Look, definitely. I mean, it didn't like set the world on fire, but you know what I like about these kind of indie games is that they always put a certain spin on established genre standards, and that feels like such a game.
Yeah.
You know, in a weird way, it reminded me of what was the game called? We played it earlier this year, where you had to climb the mountain. GoesseN, right? In a weird way, because when you saw the trailer of GoesseN, you thought, okay, that's another walking sim.
Yeah.
But it really isn't. And it kind of, and when you look at Legend of Babu, you feel like, okay, maybe your standard action RPG, but there was just something about it that felt different. And so I'm interested in that, man.
Yeah, a little bit whimsical. It given me a little bit of Kena, Bridge of Spirits vibes as well, with the action sequences and things that you got in there, and a little bit of the combat. But then you've got a lot of the traversal aspects of GoesseN with the climbing and things like that. So it certainly looks really cool. A neat looking game, nice whimsical game again. So I mean, I'm definitely interested in that. Yeah,
I agree. Then came the highlight for me for the show.
Wu-Chang,
Wu-Chang.
Yes.
505 games, man. They are cooking.
Yes, definitely cooking.
Another Souls-like, but
a little bit more on the action side, I think, judging by what I've seen.
Agree.
And we've seen positive things from the developer as well on social media recently, like praising Xbox and thanking them for giving them a chance and putting them all over Times Square in New York, and so they've really put their back in behind this developer as well, this Chinese developer to create this game. So, I mean, some of the techniques and all of the abilities and how bright and vibrant it is, despite it being in like a grim world. It certainly looks very cool. To be honest, it looks very cool. Again, definitely a Soulsy-likey game, absolutely. But also, it looks a little
bit more
with it being
a lot faster paced. I could see that it's Souls light.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. A little bit more actiony because obviously you've seen there the staff can turn into like a machine gun, or like a big bow and arrow and fire like 4 bolts at the same time. So it's definitely more on the action side, whereas I think it retains more of the Souls parts for when you're fighting the big bosses. So it looks really cool. It looks really cool, and again, that's going into Gamepass as well. So we're not gonna have to miss out on that one, even if we are dubious on it. We can certainly try it, and if we really like it, then happy days.
It was another one where I might have missed the release window. Did they give a window?
No window, but it is coming out next year.
Next year.
Yeah, coming 25. Yeah, that's all they said.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, man. Like you said, with it being a day one Game Pass release, there's really no argument in not checking it out.
Yeah.
Right. If it's not nailing the Souls-like aspect, no harm done. Yeah. But so far, that game looks absolutely sick, like you said.
Yeah.
Fast-paced combat, interesting different abilities, interesting boss design, interesting setting. It is, man.
Yeah.
I think that was the highlight for me of the show.
Yeah, definitely. I think that one and the horror game from the second one that was listed at the beginning.
From Bloober, Chronos.
Yes, Chronos. Yeah, that game and that were the highlights for me. Chronos looks really cool.
Yeah.
And then we have one more.
And one more. As a true surprise at the end. They opened the show with Remedy. Yeah, they closed the show with Remedy.
Yeah.
And
this is a game.
Remedy, we know that Remedy is working on multiple projects right now.
Yeah.
They obviously doing the Alan Wake, Max Payne.
Yeah.
Remake 1 and 2. They are merging that into one gigantic proper remake.
Yeah.
In their newest version of the Northlight engine. And they are working on 2 other projects. One is rumored to be a successor to Control 2. And we knew that they are working on some sort of co-op game. And it was reveal time. They revealed Firebreak, a 3-player co-op shooter right? Also coming day one to Game Pass,
Yep. Yep.
which I was another surprise. I mean, Remedy is no small get, right?
Yeah.
And
It makes
Firebreak,
absolute sense though, with it being a multiplayer game, that they
I
choose to put it
just
into a
was about to
service.
say that. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It totally makes sense for a co-op game, especially,
Yeah.
right? Because the co-op games always have the problem that you have to kind of convince your friends to invest a lot of money into getting a game that they might or might not be that interested in order to get them playing, right? That's always like an issue for such games. But with Game Pass, obviously, probably especially here, our community, almost everyone is probably going to be subscribed to Game Pass.
Yeah.
It totally makes sense, man. It totally makes sense.
Yeah.
It's playing in the Control universe.
It is. I noticed that immediately anyway. I noticed that immediately. The weapons look a bit funky. I did notice that straight away. There was like slime weapons and things like that, and I was like, "What is going on with this?" But I'll definitely be giving it a shot. It looks cool. Like you say, it's a 3-person co-op game, so we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, it's interesting to see Remedy do their first multiplayer game. See how they get on. See how it works.
True. I mean, they did support the work of what was that shooter, that Korean shooter?
Oh, X Crossfire.
Crossfire X. Yeah.
They did
which
the
was
single player campaign for that, didn't they?
A campaign which was really not good.
No. And I finished the campaign for that. But
no, I couldn't.
The only way was to go online and find out how to make the controls feel bearable.
yeah.
Because the controls were horrendous for that game.
Yeah. Crossfire, I mean, it wasn't like your typical Remedy game.
Yeah.
It was like developed from man, I'm blanking on so many names right now, from that Korean developer team, massive successful multiplayer shooter in South Korea. However, yeah, the combat felt so bad. I wasn't able to finish the campaign in Crossfire X, and that was like obviously coming to my mind when I saw Firebreak.
Yeah.
I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, because a true Remedy game, I can't remember Remedy making a bad game.
Yeah.
Like, Control was awesome. Alan Wake 2 was awesome. Quantum Break was awesome, right? Yeah. And even if you go back way in the days, the original Alan Wake was fantastic. And Max Payne, obviously, amazing games. So Remedy really didn't... I can't remember a bad Remedy game.
Yeah.
And for that, they absolutely have the benefit of a doubt for Firebreak. And yeah, it is kind of a big get. We have Luke in the chat. Shout out,
Hello,
man.
Luke.
I haven't talked to you in a while. He said they've already formally confirmed Control 2. 505 are publishing it.
Ooh.
I must have missed that, because I know Control 2 open secret, but I didn't know that they officially confirmed that yet. Which is awesome.
Indeed.
Although I must admit, I really did like Control, but I thought Quantum Break was better. And I know it's an unpopular opinion.
I'd have loved to see another Quantum Break as well, to be fair.
Yeah, man.
The one thing that people always complained about was the TV series built in. Because obviously between every chapter you had like a 40-minute episode, and everyone was like, holy shit, like, I'm never going to finish this game.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it, and I certainly enjoyed the world that they crafted in there with the different kind of, should we say, time travel, as it were, and stopping time and things like that. And I did really enjoy it, and the cast that they had in that game was phenomenal. But no, you're right. Remedy don't do bad work, so fingers crossed FBC's another awesome game for them as well, and they do well.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, with it being in Game Pass day one,
Yeah,
there's really no reason not to check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that wraps it up. That was the Xbox Partner Preview.
Yeah.
I put up a poll in the chat. How would people in the community grade it? I'm just gonna close that now and have a look at that.
I would probably say like a C+.
I thought it was better than a C.
A C+.
So
almost going to
25%.
Yeah.
25% voted for 10 out of 10.
Oh.
34% said a 9 out of 10.
Nice.
25% 8 out of 10. And 15% voted a 7 out of 10.
I'd probably say on that scale, I'd probably say 7.5.
A little higher. I would say 8.5. Somewhere in between an 8 and a 9. Because, again, it comes down to expectations.
Yeah.
If you go in and you expect like a June showcase, you know, just with third-party titles, you're not gonna get that. I had my expectations in check, and it was exactly what I was hoping for. Some cool games, some I've heard of, some others I haven't heard of, and nothing that sets the world on fire, obviously, but some really interesting games. Game Pass, obviously, getting an even better value with Wu-Chang coming day one into it, right?
Yeah.
Or Firebreak and Subnautica 2 as an announcement. Eternal Strands also really looked good, also coming to Game Pass. So, yeah, man, I'm more than happy with what they've shown. But of course, it always comes down to expectations.
Yeah. And preferences, yeah. There's
preferences,
a couple
yeah.
things in there
sure.
that just does not tickle my fancy. So it's the only reason that I brought it down to like a 7.5. It's just because some of the games in there, it's just not my style. But outside of that, there was still other things there that was again, one good thing is that there was a lot of new stuff. Like we've seen Alan Wake 2's expansion before the new one. We've had a tease of it. We've had a little bit more of a tease today, so that was kind of repeat, but a little bit more expanded look at it. So that was cool.
Yeah.
But again, I knew it existed. Chronos was really good. We had some cool new indie games, cool new indie game announcements. Subnautica 2 was great. I'm not sure on the Asian game that we spoke about. But yeah, that's why mine's like maybe it's a 7.5.
Yeah, that's fine. It's fair. That's fair. Like you said, preferences are different.
Yeah.
And for this to drop out of nowhere, it was a cool little show.
Yeah.
Some good stuff. Again, Wu-Chang was probably my highlight. Also, Eternal Strands looks really good.
Yeah.
Need to see more of Chronos though. Firebreak was a great surprise. To have a reveal of a Remedy game, right? So yeah, man, I'm happy. I am happy.
And we've only got one more show left this year.
The Game Awards.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still torn about that show. I mean, I do like the announcements, and that it kind of became like a mini E3 at the end of the year, because really it's no secret that I'm no fan of Jeff Keighley, but the show itself sucks, but it's an advertisement show, it's a self-promoting show and all of that. But taking that out, we always get great and big announcements, you know? So yeah, some of the I don't know if I would call it rumors, but hopes of the community I've seen is, of course, Xbox going to reveal the next gen console there.
Yeah.
Which I think is still a little too early.
Yeah, I think so.
We could, yeah. Because if they would reveal that now and release it in 26, that's too long, too early, too early. But yeah, man, we shall see about the Game Awards at the end of the year. I mean, it's not far away, right? 2 months.
Yep, 2 months away. Not even that.
I agree.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit shy.
Yeah. All right, Dutch, let us move on and talk about some other news. Stalker 2 previews are out. There was a hands-on event. A lot of influencers, media folks, and journalists got invited to play 3+ hours of Stalker 2. And I've not seen a bad one.
Yep.
Everyone liked it. I think that the overall sentiment from different people and different media outlets that I do respect and do not respect, but they had all a very similar opinion about the game. It looks phenomenal. Yeah. I mean, we kind of knew that because we've seen a lot of trailers.
Yeah.
We've played it at Gamescom last year, ourselves in a very early build, and it already looked phenomenal.
Yeah.
Jess from Windows Central said if that game, if the 3 hours he played is representative of the full game, it's gonna be a Game of the Year contender, right? So before I give my thoughts, Dutch, what did you make of all the previews? You're looking forward to Stalker 2? What are your expectations?
Oh yeah, I can't wait. I've kept away from a lot of the news on it because I just want to go into it blind. Having already had a chance to try it out and play it, I've watched the documentary that they did, which was really good. Have you seen the documentary about them?
I've seen the 1 or 70 minutes long documentary. Yeah, I've watched that.
Yeah, really good. That was a really good documentary, so I enjoyed watching that. But it's all I'm glad about is that I'm glad that the final previews, should we say, before the game releases, have been super positive across the board, and people have enjoyed it. That's what really matters at the end of the day, because of course there was some feedback after the first show when we played it where it was a little bit rough in places. But the extra time,
that was almost 1.5 years before release, right?
Exactly. I mean that was, remember, they were even thinking about publishing it, or at least releasing it earlier. And they took the opportunity to kind of take more time on it, and rightfully so. And by the looks of things, it's all paid off for them in kind. So I hope all the success for it. I cannot wait to play the game.
Me neither.
It's going to be really good. So not long to wait now. Not long.
No, not long. I mean, if you talk about Stalker 2, it's kind of hard to not somehow mention the circumstances under which the game was developed.
Yeah.
I mean, the awful and insane war and aggression from Russia against the Ukraine has been going on for 2.5 years now, almost, right?
Yeah.
And that makes up a good part of the development time, where the team literally had to fight to defend their country. And for them to still really being able to release it, and now it actually being really good, polished, looks good, runs good, performance.
Speaking of polished, 60 frames on Series X.
Yeah, man.
30
60
frames with a potential 60 frames coming for Series S. They've mentioned that the Series S development has allowed them to refine their skills in order to make optimization better, which has actually made the PC version even better. and ended up lowering the requirements on PC because of the work that they've done for Series S. So it looks like it, and they've even came out and said, listen, not every developer is going to put in the time and effort that we've done in order to refine the game more for the lower powered box like Series S. But because we've done so, and because we've taken the time, it's actually made the PC version better. So there was benefits to that time that they've taken. So hats off to them for that. Hats off to them, and that was a good Windows Central article actually from Jez to go through that with them as well. So
yeah. I was actually surprised about them mentioning that, fingers crossed, they might even be able to release a 60 FPS mode on Series S, either at launch or probably a little after.
Yeah.
But it just shows that the game is optimized and that they spent a lot of time, because when you look at the visual fidelity of that Unreal 5 game, and it's a massive open world game, right?
Yeah.
And have we seen an open world Unreal 5 game yet? Don't really think so.
Well, no, not massively open world. What was that weird EA game that came out with the like shooting from your hands?
Immortals.
Yeah.
That wasn't an open world. That was a linear corridor shooter.
Yeah. So no, I don't think so. Not yet. Someone in chat might be able to correct us, but don't think there's been an open world tactical shooter, should we say? Because it is a little bit more tactical.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, just seeing the visual fidelity that they are going for, the art style being photorealistic, massive open world, and to not just get it running on the Series S, but to actually have the performance or option maybe to do that. I mean, even for Series X, I mean, be prepared that there will be downgrades from the footage we've seen so far, because those all ran on PC, high-powered PCs. So obviously, a 60 FPS mode on Xbox Series X will have its downscaling of visual effects. Nonetheless, that's phenomenal. And yeah, but besides the technical achievement of Stalker 2, I can't wait for it. I bought the trilogy when it came out 4 or 5 months ago on console.
Yeah.
I used to play Stalker a lot on PC back in the days. When people always say, yeah, we used to compare our beefy PC builds with Crysis. So, the can it run Crysis thing in the PC world. My friends and I, we just did that with Stalker back in the days. It was just an awesome open world shooter that was very different from everything we've played back in the days, because it's not your Far Cry-ish open world. It's really not. It's also not an RPG in itself. I mean, you have certain RPG elements in the Stalker games, but it's not like you level up your character and give skill points and learn stuff like that. The RPG element is more on the equipment side of things. Find new weapons, upgrade them in there. And I love that they are not chasing trends in 2024.
Yeah.
That they really stick to the formula that made Stalker such awesome games. It's apparently also very story heavy.
Good.
At least from the preview part that they've played.
Yeah.
I mean, we only got to play a small slice that was 10-15 minutes long, right? So it's kind of hard to tell from there.
Yeah.
But apparently, cutscenes, very, very polished, high quality cutscenes. They even mentioned that they allow in the 60 FPS mode to drop the frames during the cutscenes because there's just so much going on, and they aim for that high visual fidelity. Love that. And most importantly, they apparently kept the difficulty. I mean, the Stalker games had difficulties levels back in the days. It's not just, okay, it's just a brutally hard game. You can, and I probably am I'm not sure yet if I'm going to play
on the hardest.
Not on that. Oh no, there's no way I'm going to play it on the hardest, on normal or easy. Because when people see the game, I think a lot of people think of something like your Far Cry's, but that's really not the case.
No.
The difficulty comes really in with its survival elements. If you think about the Stalker games, you kind of have to manage a lot of stuff. You have to eat. Yeah. You have to be very careful where you spend your bullets. Ammunition is scarce. It's hard to find. You kind of have to work for that and explore the world and search abandoned houses and so on to get your ammunition, to get your food and your bandages and all that stuff. And that is one aspect of it being a difficult game, because you have to manage a lot of mechanics. Be prepared. Don't go starved into a fight. Always be ready for a fight, though. And I'm really, really excited for it. And apparently there are also a lot of choices, so different endings, multiple different endings for the game, depending on what you do. So everything I've heard, the little slice we've played last year and seeing now these previews, I'm just super excited for Stalker.
Yeah, same. And it's, like you say, it's not long ago. So is it end of this month, is it? Or is it beginning of next month?
No, November 20th.
November 20th, yeah.
So 1 month to go. Also, Gamepass Day 1 drop.
Yep.
That's a good get, man.
It is. I'll be buying it nonetheless anyway to support the studio.
Yeah. I'll be giving away a copy for it on Xbox here in the podcast, just to show a little support for the developers. What else happened in the world of gaming? No pun intended. IO Interactive, man. They talked a little bit about their 007 game.
Yes.
Development apparently is progressing really well, faster than expected, and they are very happy with the state of the game. They also mentioned, and that was not new information, they've mentioned that in previous interviews, but they mentioned it again, that it is like an origin story or early day James Bond kind of storyline. And that was actually interesting. They hope that the game is going to be received well because they intend to do a trilogy. Man.
Yeah. Yep.
So what are your expectations?
At the moment, I don't have any, mainly because I haven't seen what the game is about and how it runs and how it looks and how it plays. So I have zero expectations for this game as yet. IOI Interactive, of course, have been really good with Hitman. But I expect a 007/Bond game to be a little bit more action heavy. Yes, he's a spy, etc. However, as everybody knows from every James Bond film, there's always big car chases and huge explosions, and he's always in a fancy Aston Martin. So there has to be the fine balance between
sequences,
spy and action, and that's what I'm intrigued to see. How do IOI break out of the assassin mold to do something more
of the
action?
Hitman formula?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, the Hitman games are good. They're really good.
Really good, yeah.
But I don't want them to just do another Hitman game with a James Bond skin. You know, like you said, I want a little bit more action, maybe even a little bit more direction on what to do, because it took me a while to get into Hitman, because they just throw you in these sandbox levels and you kind of have to assassinate this guy, and there are 10,000 different ways to do that, which is obviously kind of cool.
Yeah.
But a little guidance here and there wouldn't have hurt the game, in my opinion. So, yeah, man, I'm intrigued. And if they talk about hoping for a trilogy, they must kind of be like sure that they have a good game in the making, right? What do you expect when we will see the 007 game?
Ooh. I think we'll see it announced officially with gameplay next year for release in 26.
That sounds about right. I'd say maybe with them coming out, mentioning the game again, reminding everyone that it exists and that it is in development and everything, maybe Game Awards. But yeah, I would expect the game to be a 26 game, and that would make a reveal next year more likely.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
All right, Dutch, the Xbox Game Studios have a new leadership.
Yes, they do.
They do. The head of Rare is now leading the Xbox Game Studios. Greg Duncan is replacing Alan Hartman, who used to be the Turn 10 studio lead, right?
Yeah.
He will leave the company, and yeah, the Rare boss got promoted and is now head of Xbox Game Studios under Matt Booty. What do you think? What do you expect from him in that position? And is he the right choice?
I mean, you've got to applaud what he's managed to do with Sea of Thieves over the years and how they've built that and how unbelievably successful that particular IP has been. Granted, the beginning was rough, but the way they've managed that game and added to it consistently, time after time after time after time after time for years, it has to be applauded. And obviously, people will always mention, yeah, but then look at Everwild, and Everwild hasn't even released, and we've never seen it yet. But that's one game in a mountain of games that has been shown too early and has had multiple revisions in the industry, and then we just don't see them for a long time or don't hear from them again. It's just one of many. Unfortunately, it's just one of those projects from the past what was shown far too early and then ended up spinning on its head. But I don't know him personally. I don't know how he manages. Alan Hartman was good at Turn 10. Alan Hartman hadn't done anything outside of Forza for a very long time and did an okay job when he come into the role. So we'll have to see how he progresses, but I can't see why he wouldn't be successful. He's managed the rollout of continuous updates for Sea of Thieves for a very long time. So if he can manage a studio and its deadlines for doing things like that, hopefully he can manage multiple studios and their deadlines for, should we see larger updates on games as opposed to tinier updates on the same game. So we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, only time will tell, right? And I agree on what you said about Sea of Thieves. It's probably the most successful Xbox ongoing game, right? It's been running, how old is it now? 7 years, I want to say.
Yeah,
2017, right?
Yeah.
And they've kept improving that game. Now, the question really is, I mean, being the head of the Xbox Game Studios, which is a roster of 15 studios, right? Is a challenging role, and the role is not to develop great games, but to manage studios, to make them more efficient, to provide them with the resources to develop great games, and to enable the teams to not just work properly on their games, but also to share certain things across the studios, right?
Yeah.
And even though Rare had a success with Sea of Thieves, I don't think of Rare as the best managed Xbox studio right now. Yes, they have this one game that is a long-running success.
Yeah.
But other than that, even before Sea of Thieves, they had... It's been a while since they had like a massive success, right? And we've seen Everwild in 2018 or so.
Yeah.
It disappeared from the face of the earth. We heard all the stuff about not going anywhere. Development has been rebooted from scratch. And yeah, they haven't released anything outside of updates for Sea of Thieves in well over a decade now. So if I think about the Xbox Game Studios, I don't think of Rare as one of the best managed studios. So I was kind of surprised about him becoming head of Xbox Game Studios, because at the end of the day, in all these management positions, we kind of have to think about what is the actual role, what is the job description. That's also something I always say when it comes about when we talk about Phil Spencer. Obviously, higher level, but his job is not to be a gamer. His job is managing budgets, setting visions, providing the teams with the resources, making the right calls and decisions. And it is not to be a passionate gamer. That's not the job. It's good that he is that. Yeah, when you manage and when you're passionate about the product you manage, but at the end of the day, that's the job role, and that's now the job role of Greg Duncan. Not on the same level as Phil, but still, he has 15 different studios under him. And if I think about the 15 studios, there are a couple of studios that are actually from the outside. As a gamer that sits here in his basement talking about video games and from what we can judge from here. But if I think about the Coalition has been a studio that was built from scratch. They managed to take on a huge IP of Gears that they have not worked on before, right? And managed that actually pretty well. They have been the support studio within the Xbox roster, right? They have helped out as being the masters of Unreal with so many other studios. That's a well-managed studio. I think of Obsidian as a really well-managed studio. They've been working like a clockwork, right?
Yeah.
It's like they actually release games on a regular cadence that are successful, that are well handled, and we don't hear anything about development has had to start from scratch and so on. We don't hear that. Then I look at studios like In Exile or so, not the biggest in the roster, but they kind of work, right? So it would have not been my first guess that the Rare boss is the man to manage the studios, but only time will tell. right? Only time will tell. And
Yeah.
When we talk about that, I think a lot of the things we can't just look in at, okay, Sea of Thieves was successful, or Everwild has been a disaster in communication, at least, and so on. We are not in the inside. We don't know about his management skills, about his people skills, about all the stuff that you need in such a leadership position.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I agree.
Right. Pyro sends in a correction. The coalition wasn't built from the ground up. They were initially Black Rock Studios that mostly did support. Yeah, that's true. But they've never really released like their own game. They have announced just a few months before they were made the coalition, rebranded and given the Gears IP and so on, they have announced this one spy trailer that looked a little bit like an action-oriented Splinter Cell. Remember that trailer?
I think
with
so.
These agents on the rooftop going down a gigantic skyscraper on ropes, jumping through glass windows, you know. That is true. That is true. Anyway, yeah, in the discussion about leadership, none of us can really judge if he's up for the role, because we don't know how he manages stuff.
Yeah.
And that's going to be his job. His job is not going to be to develop the next best game. That's not the job role. It's something else. So,
yeah.
Anything you want to add?
No, I think that's good.
All right, Dutch. Some change. Let's stay on Xbox, and we get some interesting changes. So apparently, Android owners will now be able to play and purchase Xbox games directly from the Xbox app starting next month.
Yes.
Which is long overdue. I really never understood why it's not possible to have the Xbox store in the app.
Yeah.
I really didn't. There's no reason.
It used to be there. It used to be there.
It used to be there, right? They took it out. And it's not like, I mean, you can buy games on the Steam app on your phone, right?
Yep.
Maybe it has something to do that some of the games you purchase can be played via xCloud on the phone. That it has to do with these weird ass Android policies and Apple policies. It's not just Android. I don't know, but for most games it wouldn't really make sense. And again, you can play your game, buy your games on Steam.
Yeah.
And then use things like Boosteroid or GeForce or so to play the game also. I'm happy that it's coming. I'm glad. They are putting work into the app. It was only last week or 2 weeks ago when they merged the Gamepass app and the Xbox app.
Yeah.
Which was also kind of weird that you had 2 apps, right?
Yeah.
So that was a good job. Now they only need to get rid of the Xbox Family app.
Yeah.
And integrate that also in the Xbox app and have the one app that manages your ecosystem. But I'm happy that we will be able to purchase and have a store in the Xbox app. That's really cool. They didn't really confirm that all games will be available though. So do you expect the store to be limited?
No, I think it will just be allowed to buy anything that's on Xbox. Anything you can currently buy, I think you'll be able to do that. They also confirmed, outside of Storefront, that you'll be able to play your own games on cloud.
Yeah, it's the next big update I wanted to talk about. Yeah. Apparently, also coming next month in November, people will be able to stream the games that they own, that you bought on xCloud, which is a feature a lot of people have been hoping for.
Yeah.
So, what do you think, man?
Yeah, that'll be awesome. And I think that's the main thing that people. It's all well and good playing xCloud to test out games and things like that, but one of the things that people really wanted was the ability to play your own games in your own catalog when you're not on Xbox. And if you can do that, and all of your games that you've got installed digitally, you can just go, yeah, let's play that. That's gonna be awesome.
That's really awesome. It actually made me think about going back to use xCloud more often, because I used to play a lot of games via xCloud.
Yeah.
At least when I was in my home network, you know, sitting in my backyard. I have one of these controller clips, you know, where you can like attach your phone to the controller. Or when lying in bed, I used to play a lot of that. Then I got the Rock Ally, and yeah, that's obviously the better experience than playing natively is just a better experience than playing through cloud, right?
Yeah.
But it brings in this problem that I've called in previous shows the third-party problem. Because where do I buy my third-party games? Yeah, if I buy them on Xbox, I can't play them on the LE.
Yeah.
If I buy them on PC, I can't play them on my Xbox. So where do I buy what's coming up? Dragon Age. Yeah. Where do I buy that? Do I buy it on PC so I can play on PC and my LE, or do I buy it on console and then cannot play it on my Rock Ally when I'm on the go? And
have you downloaded Visions of Mana on your Ally yet?
I have. Only the games that are in Gamepass. Yeah.
Oh, well,
you go back and forth.
Play anywhere.
Play anyway. Yeah. But Visions is really the exception that proves the rule that basically Game Pass games are play anywhere games. There's barely any game, really barely any game that does support it. So, and with xCloud now letting you stream every game you own, that is definitely an argument pro xCloud now, because then you can go back and forth when you're on the go. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I'll be trying out the play your own games anyway on xCloud when that officially comes to pass, and I'll be intrigued to see how well it works.
Yeah. That is the other thing, right? xCloud, it became better over the years now.
It's good on PC browser and it's good on Xbox, but on mobile it's hit or miss.
Yeah, that's true. And it's just not on par with NVIDIA GeForce.
No, it's miles off. Miles off.
I haven't tried Boosteroid though.
Yeah.
Have you?
I haven't tried it either. No.
So I can't really judge about that, but yeah, I think it's a great move that this is going to come, and it will make a couple of decisions whether you get a game. See, I'm not obviously, if you're a PC gamer, you don't have that problem with the Rock Ally, and the third-party problem. You don't have that. But I'm a console gamer. I prefer to play my games on console, but the Rock Ally is just so convenient. Just mentioned that before the show. Next week, I have to go on a business trip. I'm gonna take the Ellie with me. You know, I have something to do in a hotel, and in a hotel, I haven't been to a hotel yet where streaming is an option, because you always have like 820,000 VPNs to tunnel through, and the latency is ridiculous. The bandwidth is usually sucks ass. You can rarely do like video calls or something properly through a hotel Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
At least across Europe. I've been to one hotel where the Wi-Fi was amazing, and it was in South Korea.
Oh, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, usually that's really not an option. Obviously, with mobile reception usually being bad in hotels anyway, you have the data limits, and it really isn't a proper option to play games on the go. It is super convenient to play xCloud when you're in a proper home network, in a proper home Wi-Fi, but outside, not really. So
yeah.
All right, Dutch. All right. That brings us to the end of this podcast. We usually have the community questions at the end. We put up posts every Wednesday on Twitter, on YouTube.
But no one's got any
for
questions.
For some reason, we didn't get any questions, for some reason. So guys, keep an eye out for next week. Wednesday, we're going to put up the post and send us your questions. But for now, for this week, I think we covered almost all of the noteworthy news. It's been a blast, as always, especially with the Xbox partner preview earlier today. We had a blast chatting with you guys in the chat about all these things, and it's been a blast as always with you, Dutch.
Yes.
So big shout out to this awesome community. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the like button on the way out.
Yes.
And if you do listen on Spotify or Apple Podcast, big thank you for making it to the end. And yeah, Dutch, before we let everyone out, let everyone know what you're working on.
I'm working on playing more Visions of Mana and getting that game finished, and then seeing what else I can get done before I took into Call of Duty when that launches, and Stalker when that launches, and it's
right. Call of Duty is around the corner.
Yeah. So we've got mountains of games to play. I've still got a backlog of games that I have yet to finish, that I need to finish. So yeah, that's what I'm concentrating on. Actually enjoying the games. But yeah, other than that, we may or may not have a show next week, depending on your business trip.
Yeah.
If not, then I'll see if I can do a stream or something in the meantime. Maybe it's just a gameplay stream, Starship Troopers or something. If you are here, then we'll see you next week for a podcast.
Indeed. Yeah. Like I said, I may or may not have a business trip to attend to next Thursday. So we shall see. It's not decided yet whether I go next week or the week after. So we'll have to manage and work around that, but we'll always find a way. Again, a big thank you for tuning in here today. We hope to see you guys hopefully next week. And other than that, don't forget to game on.
Got my number figured out. A motive born in drought and brevity. And if I'm not the soul of your design, rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else than your machine. I wasn't always just a single shade, a palette full of gray in reverie. And I can burn it brighter than the sun. I have a golden gun inside of me. Don't box me in, don't, or I'll leave. I'd rather be a dreamer, I'd rather be free, I'd rather be a leader, I'd rather be a queen, I'd rather be a singer in a trashy cover band. I'd rather be a closer, I'd rather be clean, I'd rather be a poser in a magazine, I'd rather be pretty much anything else. And if I fall behind, ignoring all the signs, and if I lose the fight, I still rage against the night. I'd rather be a dreamer,